Hello, how's it going out there? This is the Is It Just Me podcast with Brill. This time we have a very special guest, Trey from the Infinity Warmup podcast. So me and Trey are going to be coming at you co-op style, trying to point out the things that piss me off most, and we're going to see if Trey can undo those, I suppose. I don't know. I know there's some spoilers in here, I think, for the Star Wars movie that just came out, so heads up. It is December 18, 2017, and we're both going to be fucking up with smack talk, and then probably at some point go back to talking about Marvel, because we just can't help it. But we had a good time, and I hope you do too, and hopefully I'll get him on the podcast for some future episodes. Enjoy! But yeah, so let's go ahead and break into this. This is the Is It Just Me podcast, starring Jabril. And this is Big Trey Deasy over here from the MCU. He's doing a guest spot. Can you believe it?
Yeah, right. I'm a huge fan of this podcast. I appreciate your ability to rant incessantly about all the things that piss you off.
Well, let's see if you can either help do that, hopefully not deter me, but need more fuel for the fire.
Dude, I'm generally a cheery person nowadays. Like, you know how I never used to get upset back in high school? It's only consistently gone on like that into my old age. You know? Like, it takes a lot to rile me up.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I know you complain, all right? That's it doesn't have to be like off the what grinds my gears kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
and like
really a complaint.
And like a hipstery social justice warrior kind of like completely not dangerous complaint kind of way, but you know, you have genuine anger over little things, traffic stops. Like, what's pissed you off today?
Today, I have a list. Today is December.
You have a list.
Today is December 18th, 2017. How the fuck are you? Today, I just want to talk about a couple things. Well, first of all, can we dive into this? What's up with this net neutrality that I'm hearing of? This shit's scaring the fuck out of me.
Okay, first of all, you're way late to the party, as in they just took away your internet. Give me $5 to get on your Facebook, son.
I'm always
net neutrality has been a battle ongoing for, I want to say like 5 years now, where they've brought a bunch of bills up into the Congress to try to chip away at little things here and there. But now, for the first time, and by now I mean last week, like, if you hadn't heard about it and signed all the online petitions last week, then you're way too late, and you're just going to be shocked when you can't get on certain things without pay. I mean,
hold on. I thought Trump was trying to overthrow this, right? Or whatever it's called, really, where you can Trump it, you know?
It's not really a Trump thing, as far as my meager grasp on politics, but it's an FCC issue. So
someone has more money, and you know what? Guess what? They want more money.
Well, the way the FCC is trying to put it is they want to be able to open the pipelines or whatever makes internet go faster for certain packages, or provide, like, let's take Netflix, for example. A lot of the internet traffic goes to sites like YouTube and Netflix, and they're treated equally as any other site that you might go to, even though there's not as many people on it.
Because
what the FCC wants to do is charge a YouTube or a Netflix more so that their internet pipe is wider, faster, traffic can flow through it better. Now, what the market or whatever people are predicting is going to happen is that this is going to come back on the consumer, and that we're going to have to pay more for products like, you know, a Netflix, or pay more for, or pay at all for YouTube, you know?
Yeah, my first question is, what's the problem right now?
Okay, here's the thing. There is no problem right now.
All right, so it's
the internet has always been open. Yeah. So all these rules that they're putting in place now are for no reason. Nobody's advocating for this. 75% of Democrats don't want this, and like 60% of Republicans don't want this. This is a completely bipartisan, like, we all agree that the internet is fine, don't fuck with it. But,
but someone out there has decided
with money
that
want more money.
someone's decided that being poor, even though the 90% are the poor population, just isn't enough. We gotta nickel and dime them a little bit more. This, a lot of this sounds like taking ownership over something that no one really created. It's like, I know I'm only the smartest guy I know. Well, no, wait, hold on. Let me retract that statement. I'm only as smart as I am, and that's not all that smart. I have this weird, living in Southern California makes me a very bitter person because everyone just takes, not everyone, but the people who own the real estate, quote, quote, takes super kind of fees against, oh, well, you live near the ocean, you just got to pay more. That's just what it is. It's just what it is. You live near the ocean, you don't own it, we kind of do, and everything is just going to cost more because you get to live near the ocean. Like, you think people wouldn't live, like, just on the coastline Not everyone wants to live here, and it's not price-based 100%. I get that it is to some point, but what I don't understand is how things just keep going up in cost. Just living over here. It's like, is it better now? It's like,
first of all,
every aspect.
You get a body of water. There's a lot of places in this country
gets that.
that don't
Everyone
have a
can
bottle.
drive to that. Everyone can drive to that. And I live near it, and I don't feel it. I mean, it's cold here. Is it cold where you're at right now?
It's pretty freezing.
Yeah,
but I'm Pacific Northwest, son. I mean, I keep trying to convince my wife that we need to move to Arkansas because rent is $326 a month over there. And the only downside is you have to live in Arkansas. So
dude, and
there's an appeal to coastal living that's something I won't get. I mean, I don't like the traffic, is why I'm never going to come see you again. Screw California.
But see, yeah, that's the thing, is it compounds in itself. It's not just traffic. It's like there's traffic, everything costs more, and no one gets paid any kind of balance to offset that. Like, you have to be very successful to like living here. Otherwise, you just enjoy the fact that you live here and just agree to the fact that you can't afford anything. I've been living here my whole fucking life, and it's just like, what do you want to do? What do you mean, what do I want to do? Like, I paid the rent already, right? Like, I don't, like, cars outside, anybody tow it? No? Well, then what the fuck? I'm not going to do anything, because all these things cost money. Here's what I'm kind of thinking about earlier. Okay, so, you're saying, they're trying to see who uses more of the internet usage, and they're going to charge those people more. Okay, this kind of sounds like how my apartment complex, it's like many others, decide that you're only allowed a certain amount of electricity. No one knows who created the electricity. It's just once you go over this barrier, not only are we going to charge you for the differential of you broke 100%, we got to charge you an increase in fee. What is that shit all about? That's the same fucking thing. Y'all didn't create this. It's clear that it's not that necessary that it's like, oh, well, Bro can't have his lights on all day, otherwise my heater doesn't work. That's never going to happen. It's literally capitalism over something that isn't in existence.
50 years from now, when electricians listen to this podcast, they're going to be livid
know,
by your lack of understanding.
Well, you know what they're not going to say? It's because of me you get as much electricity as you do, and me and Steve were out there working twice as hard, and that's why you get it twice as fast. That's not why. That's not how the internet works.
I mean, I kind of see your analogy. The thing is, it's just going to be your ISP providers, companies like AT&T, Comcast, Verizon. They'll be able to call the shots and decide which websites and content you'll be able to successfully reach. Potentially. Currently, they're saying that they're not going to do that they just want to charge companies with high traffic more. But when you repeal all the net neutrality rules like they just did, then it kind of gets like you're relying on people not to be greedy scumbags, which you shouldn't do, you know? It's kind of why I'm worried about this whole Disney Fox deal, to be honest.
You mean like the people that are end up paying the fees, like me and you? Like, you can't rely on shit for us anymore, because the more you just nickel and dime everybody, the more it's making individualism just a bigger concept. I am not going to help you. I don't give a fuck about your house being on fire. There's firefighters over. I kind of act that way anyway. There's firefighters. Let them do the job. But I mean, like, no, I can't give a shit about my neighbor because I don't have enough time and or money for me. And it's like, I know I'm not in a third world country where things are that bad, but it's like, I do feel like I'm just kind of working, and I'm just closer to death than I ever was before.
I don't know, man. There's parts, I've been all around this country, and there's parts of it that straight up look a little Guam-y. Look like some suburb in Syria.
Well, for your and my purposes, like, what would be the bad part? I mean, you could just find all the pros of going to Arkansas and paying $300 a month, so long as you can get your internet service, right? Because that would help you out tremendously. You would have to work less hours, assumingly, and you'd have more free time to do something cool online. That's, that's where YouTube has to be stationed at, is Arkansas. I've decided.
Yeah, if the internet was a physical location.
That's my point. There's nothing Arkansas. Physical about this shit. And you know what? I go back to talking shit at a couple of my friends too, because they kind of introduced me to that whole Kodi thing. And they were, I don't know, they tried to make and sell some box that would help you like access it quick and then have it, super readily available for your TV, and it was supposed to be really cool. And the whole time I had two complaints. There was one that was like, look, if you just give me all the world of television and movies, right now, I'm just going to go, all right, well, I don't know what to watch.
All right.
Because it's like when you're watching television, back in the day on like cable and whatnot, like there's TV guides and there's, digital TV guides and whatnot. You know what's on. Because
my favorite is the scroll where you just had to watch it slowly go down and
the TV Guide channel. Oh my god!
And if you miss it, if you walked away to make a sandwich, then
bitch.
You got to go through all
pay-per-view.
195 channels again. Yeah, it's pretty.
You can't like. There's a thing with humans, and once you have too many variety, you just kind of, I mean,
spoiled for choice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and that goes for everything. If someone was like, here's all the candy that ever existed, it's like, all right, but you can only eat one at a time. It's like, well, you'll probably just grab what's around and be like, oh, well, I don't like this one that much. This one's 80% touching my taste buds. This one, that one. With movies, you can only give full attention to one at a time. I was like, why do you guys need all this shit at the touch of your fingertips? This brand new, I get you want to see movies, but what was wrong with downloading them? Or just having a digital copy of it, whatever you want to call it. Like, I was like, I do my pirating, so it's, or I don't.
You
can't catch
you've
me
never
doing
pirated a thing in your entire life.
Never. But I'm just saying, if you're going to look for streaming versus downloading, I always hated on it because I was like, streaming means you need that right now. It needs to be constantly, what's it called? The data needs to be processing constantly. Whether you get the digital copy, pause. You don't have to worry about it loading. There's none of that shit going on. My neighbor is using the same app too.
All right. So wait, I'm sorry. What are you advocating?
I'm saying you wouldn't be coming into this whole, YouTube's gonna, YouTube's different, but like Netflix. I would watch less Netflix if I just pirated everything. I'd probably watch no Netflix.
Now here's where it's gonna get a little nefarious with net neutrality, because they have, or rather in the future, they will have the ability to suppress the speed to content that they don't want people reaching. So, I mean, marginalized voices like...
So they're going to put speed limits on the internet?
Yeah.
As well as the
Fast lanes
Autobahn?
and slow lanes. Yeah. So, first of all, I predict that torrent sites are just going to go away. Like, they're just, no, we're gonna turn this shit into China. You can't download shit.
See, that sucks, because I just wanted to buy a what's it called, a VPN?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have one of those. Probably should get one.
Yeah. No. but more nefarious than that, I think there's a huge political aspect of what they're trying to do, and that they can really silence dissent in a lot of ways if they so choose to. I mean, it's a bit of a gray area right now as to what can happen, but it can get pretty dark. Yeah. I'm worried for Reddit, I'm worried for amateur content creators.
I'm worried for life getting worse than it already is. This is what I'm saying, is that we have a mutual friend. I'm not going to say their name, but they basically, it seems like if they didn't have the internet, like, they would just die or commit suicide. One of the two. It's because they're just always, they don't really work, and they're always at home, and it's like, what do you think they're doing at home? They're online, which is one of the beautiful things about, actually, not beautiful, but like, if you're handicapped and you can't get up out of your, as long as you have a phone with some Wi-Fi, like, there's something you can do. You can learn. You're not just watching TV all day like some fucking, some jackass who, refuses to better themselves. Whatever. You can learn, read shit, Facebook, whatever. You could do that, and, it's really cool, but as soon as you start putting all these ties on there, like, okay, well, now you can only go this fast, and you got to pay more if you want to go a little bit faster. It's like, the way it's working right now is if I'm using too much, I just get, what's it called, crashing, whatever. Okay, slow the fuck down. Got it. No problem. But someone wants to take ownership over this. Why? Because there's money to be made.
Yeah, and you know that it's not going to be like an all at once thing. Like, they're just going to chip, just really pick at your liberties one tiny bit. I was like, it's okay at that. I wasn't really using that.
Yeah.
I can stand to lose this. It's not that bad.
So they're going to make people like me, who already work a 40-hour week, go nowhere job, work even more to get what I already have. That's what kills me. That's what's kind of pissing me off, because I'm trying to introduce this idea, or at least to the podcast, that it's not the worst time in the world to be poor in America. Let's make that clear. It's in America. But to be poor here, because there's so much you can let your credit, you just open a credit account and then just ruin it and get a bunch of free shit technically and have bad credit. Or you can buy an LCD. No. I know that sounds like an extreme, but just hear me out.
All right.
You can have a fucking 50-inch LCD screen at this point in time for like $200. It's not going to be video game ready. It's going to have lag, but you can watch all your favorite fucking movies on there. Everyone gets to enjoy this. If you go back to when my mom first bought our, I think it was an LCD. This shit was insane. This is when Blu-ray was just coming out. She got both too. It was bananas, and the Blu-ray player is a bag of shit. But you know what? She bought it. It was like $2,000. It was like a 50-inch Samsung, really good, especially for the time. 48-inch screen, whatever, TV, cost like $3 or $4 grand. That's a lot. I've still never. That's my car. The Blu-ray player she bought was $1,000, and the thing just collected dust because it was like Blu-ray was new. We weren't giving it a lot of use, and then the eject button would take like a minute to open. It was stupid, but at that point in time, it was only people who could afford it to get to enjoy the slow technology of the higher end world. Where now, there's a Blu-ray player in my Xbox One, motherfucker, and I'm sad to say I don't use it all that much because I'm on the PC, but my point is, there's a Blu-ray player that's just as good as the one my mom bought. It's in a console that cost $300 on the day of the launch. You hear what I'm saying here?
Well, it's but you're just talking about Moore's Law, Like, I think that shit was going to happen regardless of any external constraints that we put on it. You're familiar with Moore's Laws, right?
You got to update me. Who's Moore again?
It's just the doubling of computation processes every 18 months. That technology is going to get exponentially better as time progresses at a faster rate.
Yeah, it's better, but it also introduces, it's like, what if they only had brand name drugs? That would be it. You would never touch codeine in your life because it would cost $600 for 30 fucking capsules, and you'd be like, well, that wasn't worth all that. It's like, no, we have, after technology and a bunch of other companies trying to whittle this down because they're trying to appeal to a cheaper, not race, but cheaper, like, I don't know, whatever, class. It's like, well, because some people want these drugs too, and they can't afford them, so we come out with this generic, which is literally the same thing, a little bit different.
I'm so glad I don't know anything about Big Pharma. I don't take medicine at all.
Well, you know how there's like two different names to every drug, right? There's like acetaminophen, and then there's like, what's that, Tylenol? Like, acetaminophen is the name of the drug. Tylenol is the brand name. Like, I think they were the first one who made it, but if you ever see a bottle just say acetaminophen, it probably also says Walmart or Stater Brothers on there, and it works just as well. and this is kind of what you were saying with the whole more thing. It's, I mean, technology every 18 months, whatever. They are at least able to appeal to a class that doesn't make as much money. And guess what? That's me, you, and the rest of the 90% that are down here. And you're going to tell us now that we can't enjoy the amount of internet we enjoy? We already work 40 hours a week.
You're stirring everybody up into a frenzy, Jabril. Nothing has happened just yet. They just
I thought I was
took
late
this
to the party.
away. Well, no. You are. They've taken away the net neutrality laws that were on the book. It's going to go through all kinds of court proceedings, and people are going to hammer out the finer details of what your ISPs are allowed to do. And then you're going to start seeing the changes. You've got about a year and a half before your internet does anything weird. But it's coming. But it's coming.
We have that much time to become famous doing this shit. And here's another thing, too, is, so are they really trying to just whittle us down and tell us to go back to work? Because is this going to make doing our side job harder? More difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I wish.
By doing that, you're telling someone, well, go back, stick to your day job. And it's like, I don't like my day job. I don't want to stick to it.
You got to understand that this, as far as amateur content goes, this is a really unprecedented time in America, because the FCC and major broadcast corporations have always had control of the ability to reach the populace, even back when it was, like, go back to your parents' age and there was only 4 channels on television, and even then radio, you had to go the payola road of who was on the airways, who gets radio play. Television, even as it expanded, it was still under control of corporations who had the ability to, be gatekeepers over the product. This is the goddamn Wild West.
And this is awesome, is it not? Because think about what you're saying right there is like,
I don't know. I mean, should I be allowed to talk to an audience of no one right now? But let's say we get followers.
Allowed.
Like, we're unqualified idiots. Yeah. Our opinion shouldn't be allowed into anybody's ear holes.
This word allowed, I'm not understanding that part. You think because if you work for some radio station and you follow the guidelines of what you're allowed not to say, see that word allowed just popped up again? What you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to, like, Trey, like you and I, we're not doing things like feeling people up and putting it on camera. Like, we're literally, this is 100% freedom of speech, and then we're just distributing this speech. And I'm not saying we have to become super successful, all this other bullshit. I'm saying, what's the problem with us submitting this to everybody? The fact that it's so easy and I can just share my thoughts and views. That's what people do on Twitter already with their comments. This is just an unedited version.
You gotta understand, it's white noise at the speed of light. Like, if enough
just because I'm not sounding amazed, that doesn't mean it's a bad point of view.
No, I mean, far be it for me to argue on behalf of billionaires. You just won't see me doing it. But I'm playing devil's advocate to them, because this is like you said, an unprecedented time in the world. This is absolutely insane that it's just so easy to do this, I mean, granted, you had trouble getting this speed up, but yeah, like, never before have just any rube been able to just type into Twitter and reach the person that they're angry at that moment.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's weird, but shit like that is going to happen when you just increase when you don't put any cap on the population increase. First of all, if we're going to put some cap on some shit, how about we charge people who want to have an insane amount of kids more money by the kid?
Into a eugenics argument?
Just you bring 7 kids over to the McDonald's and they all order number 1. The first 3 cost $5.99, and after that they do a markup of 150%. Because that's what you fucking get for doing this shit to the goddamn world. You did this to everyone else. Now all of them are going to have to pay 150%.
All right. Yeah, that's one way to reach.
Well, at least by doing that, you're attacking the person who's causing the problem. Right?
I mean, what was that MTV show where that lady had like 18 children? Like, do you begrudge her? How mad
Yes.
can you be at her?
No,
She's
like,
ruining
yeah,
her
okay,
own life.
even my mom, and I don't feel like dropping her too much. My mom had too many fucking kids, dude. I shouldn't have 4 brothers. This is ridiculous.
Did you know?
Why do we need to increase this much? What, did she have us, build her a house? No, we all work individually in shit different jobs. Not one of us is successful to my standards. It's ridiculous. And it's just like, well, I mean, maybe if you had 1 or 2 of us, maybe we could have made it.
No, probably not. Probably just as screwed. But, I mean, you can't be China, Jay. You can't put a kibosh on how many children people are allowed to have.
What's wrong? Okay. What's wrong with what China's doing besides just killing the baby girls?
Oh, just that. All
right, well, we're doing a lot of fucked up shit over here too, all right?
Yeah, institutionalized racism. That bothers me a little. Fucking hell. So.
Okay, all right. What do you think there was a decent go over the? I don't know. I feel like I didn't know enough about net neutrality going in, but it really did seem to tie in with the fact that I feel like they're just making it harder and harder to be poor. And, I could take this not a bunch of different directions, but I have a billion kind of examples. Like, anyone can drive a car, whether your car costs $100,000 or $2,000. Everyone needs to drive. Or not everyone, but people need to fucking get around. And then we have companies that cater shitty cars to people, not shitty people, but people who have shitty income. So that, you may not be able to have, the bun warmers in your car, but you can get around like a normal person does. And some people need to use the internet to drown out their sorrow and to watch Netflix. Netflix is already, I don't know how they're cutting down in price, but I'm willing to make them, to let them charge me $15 a month if that undoes all of this.
I think it just went up to $10.99.
As far as I know, I thought it was $7.99, but
good Lord!
I think I was talking with you about this the other day. Like, we lived through part of the time before Netflix was super famous. Like, a friend of ours. I don't think I had Netflix when they came in DVD, I did, but I didn't get like that service. I was like, no, I'm down with the digital, and it was like. It wasn't Snakes on a Plane, but it was like the equivalent. I don't know if you've seen this. I think it was about dragons. It was like a comedic outlook on like if 2 CG dragons just showed up in like New York, and I think Steve Urkel was one of the cast members, and they had to find out what to do to stay alive. But yeah, it was terrible, and I just had to deal with that, and now it's super awesome, and I don't really have any complaints in that department anymore. And if they want to increase the price a little bit, I feel like I'm okay with that. But just what's going to happen?
It's all speculative right now. We don't really know what's going to happen. There's definitely some worst case scenarios that are pretty Orwellian, but now it's
you have to have
AT&T
to get this provider, like to get this app usefulness.
Well, no, it's going to be in the hands of the providers, but there's really only 3 or 4 of them, and hell, really only one, considering, or if you take into account like where you live, you can only have that one provider in the area.
Yeah, let's go ahead and okay. You have something else you want to say?
Might not even have a choice.
I was going to switch off, actually. I have something else I wanted to talk about. It's directly related to my options for ISPs.
All right.
Yeah, so not long ago, I had a run-in over the phone with AT&T. Hey, guys, go fuck yourself. Except for that one girl who helped me out. She's cool. Everybody else gave me this stupid runaround. When I moved into this complex, my options were AT&T and Cox. And I don't know why I didn't just go with Cox. It's something about
Cox is awesome, apparently.
Something about the male gene. I don't know how they got away with using that name.
It's with an X. They have fiber optic cables, yo.
Okay. All right. So they're just allowed to call themselves Cox. All right. Well, then there's.
It's not big hairy dicks you put in your landline.
Let's just be Clits. With a Z.
That's childish.
Is it?
If it was if you made the decision to go to AT&T instead of Cox specifically because of that, then yes.
It might have been an
Yes, it was.
incoherent thought. All right. I'm not saying maybe I was just trying something different, but I mean, it might have been a price thing too. When I first came here, I wasn't really so concerned about how fast I could upload. I was just like, I mean, as long as it works, it works. And they sold me like 45 megabits a second, which is not all that fast at all, but with direct connection, it works. But, so I chose the AT&T, and they convinced me I was getting, what is their super one? Is it like fiber optic or Fios or something like that? They were like, oh yeah, dude, I think they used the word fiber optic, and I was all super stoked because I was just like, wow, I'm just only used to cable internet. I'm going to get the fiber optic. This was supposed to be an echelon above it 5-6 years ago, right? And then I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he ended up just, the plug they use, it's not even just a phone jack. I don't even know what it is. It's only used in like one location in the apartment, which kind of sucked because I wasn't getting the distance signal I wanted.
Right.
And it was on the other side of the apartment, which is an apartment. To break it down, it's an apartment. There should be no internet issues unless we all share the same ISP, and therefore it doesn't know who to give it to. I get that, but like it's not big enough that it should be an issue. I should be able to be outside my apartment smoking and just being like, oh well, hey, look, I still get signal. But I wasn't getting all that much. And then the speed of 45 megabits per second is not much for a gamer at all, Netflix included.
No.
If you both wanted to do that at once, one of you's got to suck a dick. So
right.
So one of us had to stop and do the dick sucking. And so I was like, look, I called up AT&T and I was like, hey, so I want to up my speed here. I thought I got the best package, and I was just like, and also I'm not getting, there's two sides of internet. There's how fast is it and does it reach? And I wasn't getting either of those to my likability. And I was like, I'd like to increase it on both ends. Could you fix this and sell me more?
Yeah, literally they're happy to do that for you.
Their only offer was you can go up another 5 megabits per second, but that's all we offer. And I was like, 50? What the fuck? And it'll cost you a couple bucks a month. And I was like, I don't care. I knew I'd be charged for it, but why is from 45 to 50? Are you understanding the conversation? This is me talking to them, not you. I know you get it. You understand what I'm saying? My problem is here. 5 megabits would only help if I only had 1 megabit. Like, you're adding like a nickel.
Yeah, that's a little brutal.
And so brutal. I talked to him over the phone. I said, we're going to cap out right here and this is all you have to offer me? Okay, well, I want to cancel my internet service because I'm not getting my signal and you guys, I can't increase my speed. It's weird. I thought, do I have the Fios? And they're like, no, it's not over it. You're complex. And I was like, someone told me it was, thought so. So, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and cancel that. Want to pay everything now so we don't have this to come back and hit me later. So we ended up doing that, and I got the guy to say over the phone more than once, like on a different phone call too, when I ended up calling back later. So I paid up, right? And this was like in September, and they said your last day.
Wait. Did you cancel it, or did you decide to just pay more?
No, because I didn't want it. I had an option of Cox, and I really wanted the better service.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, 50 is not going to help me, so I canceled. And then they were just like, oh, well, there might be this early termination fee. And I was just like, I don't see how this is my fault.
Dude, that's what they got me on right now. I have my iPad connected to my cell phone bill. I'm like, I'm never gonna make a phone call from this thing. Let's just go ahead and pull this iPad off of there. It's like, this is an early termination fee if you want to take the iPad off of here. I'm like, but like, who's I mean, you got me. I did sign that thing, but I didn't read it, man.
Well, some of that stuff is set up to be bullshit. Plus, I mean, I feel like, okay, I try to throw these reasons past my own brain and think that if you heard this, would you think it's, a legit excuse? And I feel like if I can't get the service I'm supposed to be provided, and if you can't increase the speeds to something decent, and I'm limited now, that's it. Like, y'all should just go, look, it is what it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You can go ahead and cancel. And they said might, as in we don't know. And then I was like, all right, and called up like a week or so later. I was like, hey, I got a bill in the mail. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, you should get a final bill, but it'll be for $0. You're all paid up. I was like, is there anything on the account? And I know all calls are recorded because I do this kind of shit for a living sometimes.
Right.
And they're just like, oh, yeah, no, you're good. You're good. You should get one more in the mail and it'll say 0 and you're straight. You know, all right, cool. Got one in the mail to say, hey, man, if you don't pay us this $50 you owe us, we're throwing you in collections. And I was just like,
what?
It's weird how the amount I owe is the exact amount as a normal month. It just sounds like someone didn't cancel my subscription. And I've already sent everything back and they canceled it. And I just had to call back about 4 or 5 times. And within this time, I got some letters in the mail saying, you know, and I'm looking at the date to see if it's after the phone call took place. Is this updated information? It normally never isn't. And then I just keep calling back and they're forwarding me around. I was just like, how much time am I going to spend trying to save $50? We're going on 6 hours. I might as well just go to work at this point. Like, cause not even money for time, stress.
This phenomena you're experiencing is called the diffusion of responsibility, where because you can't reach Mr. AT&T himself, you just have to go through a bunch of people that generally don't give a fuck about your life and your problems and try to get your $50 back. I mean, really, they're just trying to wear you out. Maybe you'll just go away so that they can get back to their lunch break.
And that's how I broke my last Galaxy phone was this time
you
last year.
You threw it at a wall?
No, well, actually it hit the carpet, which was really weird. No, I had a Galaxy S6 this time last year, and I ordered something on Best Buy, and it was because they had a fat deal. It was like half off. And, I mean, to my defense, I was saving like $15 in this transaction. So I ordered it, and then like a week later, I never even got an email confirmation. And I was like, this is weird. And I was just like, super weird. They didn't charge my account, and I called up, and they're like, yeah, well, it canceled as soon as you ordered it. And I was like, I don't know why. And I was like, well, how come no one tried to verify anything? How come I never got an email? How come none of this shit? And they were just like, oh, well, you can buy it now, and it'll cost, and they gave me the price that was doubled at this point. And I was like, no, dude, I'm showing you that I bought it at this price point. And he was just like, well, I mean, all right. And then he put the order through, and then again, no avail. And then so I had this Samsung phone I'm about to show you and no one else right now. Oh, wait. Oh, that teapot.
Stop cracking your screen. Get an OtterBox.
Oh, no. It was in an OtterBox. It was in a fucking OtterBox. I keep good cases on these phones. It's just, and I think it had the Gorilla Glass and all that shit on there. I threw it at the carpet. I had thrown this thing on the floor plenty of times just being over the situation. You know? Just like, oh, fuck it. And I just dropped my phone and I knew it was safe.
Rage?
At this point, it hit the carpet and just shattered. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't even understand. And the shatter alone made it tough to look at, but it ruined the Bluetooth capability. It turned a 30-foot radius into 2.5 feet. I'd have like the phone here at my chest and like the headphones on my head, and if I moved it a foot away, it would disconnect.
Wow.
It was terrible. Okay. And now I have an iPhone, which I don't like.
Ooh, come on. iPhones are sexy now.
Well, I mean, we're on iTunes, but otherwise, what do you mean sexy? They just, I don't know, man. I try to convince my mom to get like a laptop, like a whatever MacBook or whatever, just because she's been poor most of our lives, and she's used to buying a $300 laptop at a time, and they just crash after like a year, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, look, just spend $1,000.
It's so true.
Just get a fucking Mac. It'll last forever. I don't know why the phones don't.
Yeah. I'm about due for an upgrade myself.
But yeah, fuck you, AT&T, cause that was bullshit. Y'all put me through way too much, and I literally, in my head and out, I think the phone was on mute. I was ready to give in and just give the lady my money, cause I was like, I don't mind going to medical collections, but some shit like this, like I'm trying to avoid, I don't know.
I've been thinking about going no phone. Like I don't think I need a cell phone. I don't call people. And if I need internet, you know, I'm pretty much always connected to Wi-Fi when I'm at home, and I got the iPad for that. Like I'm gonna renaissance this probably in the near future and go without cell phone.
One step closer to Ari Shaffir.
Right? Oh yeah, he did that for a bit. It's doable, dude. I mean, like on a day-to-day basis. How often are you using your phone as you should?
See, okay,
make
that last
calls
part. Now I have to
text.
change my answer. As I should, because there's plenty of things I do. Like recently, I did all my Amazon. I did all my Christmas shopping on Amazon. So like I was just on it, just on my email, checking the tracking like day to day because I have the 2-day shipping. I was like, all right, okay, this ship, that ship.
Okay. Now the world will not come to a fiery end if you just wait till you get home and see that on your computer, though,
That's
right?
true. That is true. Yeah, that's why that last part you threw in that statement threw me off. Using it as I should, it's really it just takes up space in my pocket at this point, and I've seen myself.
It does bring equilibrium to my pockets. It balances the force. Like I have a method for my wallet, keys, phone. There's everything in its place.
It's totally just us becoming another number to take our place in society. It's just everyone has one. I'm gonna take a guess. It probably goes on the side of your body which you're more comfortable with. If you're left-handed, it'll be on your left. You're right-handed, it'll be on your right. Very easy to just steal someone's phone because you know where it's at. It's never in the back. You don't want to sit on it unless you're in high school and you're stupid. It's always in the front pocket where your wallet should be.
What? Wallet should be in the front pocket?
Yeah,
Says who?
Me. I don't want to sit on my wallet. Why would you? Totally. See, what equilibrium are you talking about? How do you even out the butt cheeks, man? How does that work?
You put it in the dash when you sit in the car, and otherwise you just take it and get that hernia later in life.
I honestly thought you were going to say you slide it between the cheeks. You have to aim it.
Long ways? No,
that's
thank you.
Equilibrium.
Thank you. Huh.
But I see your point. I do agree, but I'm too 21st century to do without that, man. Like, you give me 15 minutes alone at work, I don't want to talk to anybody.
And
there's things that I don't need to do, but I will find to do on my phone.
I definitely feel the transition into old manliness when because I constantly ridicule people who are on their phone in restaurants or on their phone in the car. Just generally, people are on their phones.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an old complaint, but oh my god, I do that all the time as well too. So it's literally hypocritical of me not to get rid of my phone at this point.
Yeah.
It may be just to see if I can even do it. Because I'm addicted to fucking phone games at this point. I need to acknowledge other people's faces in public. I don't think I've seen another human face.
But there's
walking
nothing.
Down the street
There's nothing like a text message though, and I know now that okay. Here's another thing they should nickel and dime us on like they used to, right? With the 50-cent text message thing. Those are almost free now. They're just not ISP, but cell phone provider. It's just part of the plan. But I could see how they would try to do this whole net neutrality thing and be like, all right, well, you want to send a text message that says KKK? Not KKK, K or KK.
I see where you're going.
You see what I'm saying? How many text messages do I send? Like, I'll just be, when you see someone has that bubble and they're like forming a text and you're like, wait, I don't want them to think that I didn't fully vet out this message. I need them to see it before they respond. Can you imagine?
I don't think that falls under the purview of net neutrality, but I'm familiar with the plight of desperately trying to get out a message before the bubble's end.
It's in the same direction. Why wouldn't they charge us more? We are at we are at the mercy of cell phone companies, just like we are going to be with the whole internet thing. I know there's 6 or 7 cell phone companies if you include like the third party ones, but I would say that's at the mercy for the most part because I can name all of them. There's not a lot of them out there.
Dude, come on. We'll just, we'll do a GoFundMe. We'll launch our own satellite. Bingo, bango. We got our own cell phone company. It's easy.
How about we do a GoFundMe for this MCU podcast we got going on, man? Not that mine went over very well at all, but what can you expect? We need viewership. But, God damn it. What was I? I don't know. As far as the cell phone thing, I find myself somewhere in the middle, and that's where I draw the line. I feel like you should be right there with me. It's like cell phone. If you're super uncomfortable, I guess, in a crowded space, you're waiting for your food to go, like in a restaurant or some shit. I could see how you
it's
bust
second
that out.
nature. You pull it out all the time.
There's the separation of like he's just like okay, you can tell when someone's just looking at their phone versus when they're recording or taking snapshot, whatever pictures with it. That's the part that's bugging me. I can't stand seeing that because you can tell when someone's aiming that camera lens at you. Not even at you. What are you recording all the time? What is happening? Who watches this footage? Dude, I barely listen to my podcasts.
Back when I worked in the circus, I would get to walk through the stands as the show was going on, and the amount of people who just record live entertainment instead of watching it with they're holding it up in front of them so they can't see it. They're just seeing and the arena is dark and the floodlights are going, so they're just getting awful video quality, steady recording the whole thing for
audio quality.
Like, who is this for? Nobody cares about watching your fucking, stop it. You're ruining the experience for yourself and you look like a twat-sickle. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, I need to get rid of my phone.
And how are we not learning, dude? Like, see, I use me as a yardstick to measure all this shit to see what's overly retarded and what's my level of retarded. And back in the day, I don't know, about a decade ago, I haven't been to a wrestling event or a concert in a long time, so it had to have been a decade. But I recorded some shit and I tried to send it to somebody, and all it sounded was. And I was like, no, there's music being played. But see, you're talking about the video quality. There's also a thing called audio quality. And your cell phone cannot pick up a concert. It's not how it works. They do not build those amps. It would have to be reverse engineered. Cell phones just pick
really wants to send you a video of Jason Mraz tearing it up on stage. Check it out. I'm here. I'm live.
And I hate that awesome. Because what I end up doing is, like, I get a lot of these from, like, family members, I suppose, and then whatever, a couple of friends that I have. Not too many. I'm not too friendly with those people that want to send these videos, but sometimes you'll get, like, a 30-second film, and it's like, what am I listening to, watching? What is the point of this? Like, it's, like, I don't know, like, what are the odds you turn the camera on at the right time when they were going to do that silly move that everybody wants to see, for one, right? Because,
I mean, it's the culture. We got to share things now,
well,
you know?
Okay.
God forbid we talk to the person next to us.
But see, there's a use for everything. Do you remember when you and I used to fuck around at work in Barstow? And we would record that shit, and those were funny videos, and that could have gone viral, whatever. If YouTube was closer to us back then, and I just had a smartphone. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Okay.
We used to just drive around in forklifts and do stupid shit, and then one of us would have a camera and we'd just send it back and forth. Me and Joss used to do that all the time. It was hilarious. It was like basically just like America's Funniest Videos. But there was a point to this shit. And all of it was, I mean, even though the video quality wasn't all that good, it was like you could get a laugh off of it. I was over at Bill Burr's 2 years ago, I think. This New Year's Eve, and there was people, he was talking, making fun of him, like, in the crowd, and I was just like, I tried to get a picture. That's all I really wanted was, oh shit, Bill Burr. And it turned out bad, and I put it away. That was it. I was like, never mind. Some people recording this shit, like, what? It's gonna be out on DVD as soon as he releases the special. What are the odds it's worth it at this moment? And, like, and the thing is, you have to, like, as a cameraman, you're not looking through anything but the lens. So that's the quality. You see it. Even though you're live. You see it through a camera lens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new technology, right? We haven't figured out the ethics of when to put the goddamn thing away yet, you know? And I can't really knock it. I see what, you know, what we're trying to do there, but I don't know if it's a common sense thing or what. I'm honestly just waiting for them to implant it directly behind my eyeball so that I could constantly be interfaced with my own virtual reality instead of having to hold a fucking 2-inch screen up in front of my face.
Because that's a problem. So when I used to get home from work, I would like lay down and then just hold it above my head, and then like, sometimes it'd fall on me, but that would just cause
your
me to
hands
fall
go
asleep.
numb.
Yeah, just holding it like, just imagine holding this half a pound, maybe third of a pound. It doesn't sound that heavy, and then you're trying to watch it for like 5 minutes, and the thing just falls, and it's like, by that point, I'm unconscious.
Starts tingling. Yeah.
But what was it? Futurama. They had that one iPhone episode, right, where they just inject that shit in your eye, and it just displays like 16 inches in front of you. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if you watch Black Mirror at all, but
yes. Oh, that one. That one was where they could rewind everything that they saw. That
Oh
was
God,
awful.
how sad was that story?
Just like, let me see the interview. No, I don't know what happened to it. The footage got lost somewhere. I think it's corrupted data or something like that.
Oh, the sheer pettiness that people can sink to.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, we're not that far removed from monkeys, dude. We still have these awful emotions that are just going to be just enhanced by technologies. That Black Mirror episode in particular, well, that guy was trying to figure out if his wife or something cheated on him. It was just constantly going back over footage.
Rewind it. What was that smirk about? Zoom in.
Oh, God.
Zoom in.
You could just sink into your own madness. Yeah.
You know what was funny? As a side point, is that guy you're talking about from that episode? He was in Rock and Rolla, and I tried to talk to you about this on a different podcast. He was the main character.
So sorry. Speaking of evil corporations. So
jobs, bureaucratic organizations.
We're going to talk about the Fox Disney deal, but just the negative aspects of it on this podcast, because there is a bright and rosy and wonderful side to it, where Marvel acquires all of its franchise characters that have been a success in the comics and to geek culture at large. And I am kind of behind the Disney and Fox, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say merger. Disney performed a hostile takeover and took everything Fox had, including their stake in Hulu, some fucking sports channels, National Geographic. They took everything. Like 10,000 people are losing their jobs for this shit. But there is a bright, sunny side to it, where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is so much better now.
Well, you're right, but I still have to find something I can complain about. And you know what? This is directly tied into the fact that Disney is the sole proprietor owner, and you can kind of see a lot of the correlation between them. And I just saw Star Wars, even though I'm not a fan. Saw it
Also
opening night.
Disney.
Huh?
Also owned by Disney. Go on.
That's my point. My point is, have you seen it yet?
No, but I've listened to all the spoilery things about it. So, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
For Star Wars Last Jedi.
I really don't want to my spoils aren't like, oh, well, this happened and this guy killed that person and this is how it ended. It is one thing that I really can't stand so much. And, honestly, my girl's on the same side as me when it comes to this shit. Is, I started noticing it heavily in the Thor Ragnarok movie. I think you pointed out too, that spot where there's a point where like Thor throws a giant heavy bowling ball or whatever through a window, but it just bounces off the window, hits him in the head. It creates this huge comedic point where the whole audience is supposed to just lighten up and laugh and just enjoy the movie that's quote unquote for all ages. This is my problem. I know that I never signed on to the idea of I like Marvel because Marvel's for my it reaches my adult what am I satiation?
Yeah.
Is that word? Yeah. It's not like
not even, but I'm going
satiation?
with it.
Satiation. How do you say it?
One.
Yeah. But it's not like hitting all my needs as an adult. And if I wanted an adult-only comics, meaning like I want death, I want blood, I don't want there to be any cuss word. Like if you have something that you want the character to say, go ahead and say it. Do it. I would probably just go to Spawn. And that would be the end of that. But I'm noticing in the Thor movie and a lot of it in the Star Wars movie, they just create these light-hearted moments that's just supposed to make everybody kind of giggle. It totally drags from the story. It doesn't pull you away that much, but it's like, there's some serious shit going on here with this god, and he has to kill somebody with thunder, but it's like he's got to make this really funny thing happen really quick so everybody can just laugh. And then you can see the whole audience laughs, means it's fun for the whole family. I'm not trying to drag people of all ages, and I don't want to have a conversation with why I like Thor Ragnarok with a 6-year-old. We're going to like it for way different reasons. Star Wars overdid this in their last movie. There were scenes with Kylo Ren where he was making jokes.
Really? Huh. Now, this backlash that you're having seems to be different from the general perception of the movie. First, let me ask, did you like the movie?
I don't like Star Wars.
Oh, no? Why did you see it in the first place?
My girlfriend wanted to
Because you got Movie Pass.
Yeah, that too.
There's been a recent backlash against the film where it has 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics, but the audience is at 56%. Like,
holy shit!
Yeah, they think it's like as bad as the prequels and whatnot. And from all the critics that I've listened to and reviews that I read, by all accounts, it's a good film. So I'm wanting to chalk it up to like generational nostalgia not being meant in the manner that older nerds think that their character should be portrayed. I mean, is that kind of how you feel about the film? Like they're not treating it with the respect that they should?
I thought
and that they're telling jokes? Or
I thought something like that might have happened with Star Wars, but it seems like Star Wars seemed like a franchise where it doesn't seem like, I guess Marvel's kind of that way too in the same regard now that Disney owns it, but they can't make anything bad, right? Because I don't like any of them. I'm just not interested.
Well, they can totally make a bad Star Wars film. Well, they can make 3 in a row.
Okay. Well, the third one wasn't that bad, right?
I've got the high ground.
That was the best part of the fucking
you can't
saga.
Jump up here and get
the best
your legs
part of the saga.
off.
I fell asleep my first time watching that part, and like I totally dismissed it. And then like I didn't see it. And then like the next day I was talking shit to one of my buddies. He goes, "Well, did you see that part?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "You didn't watch the end?" And I was like, "I fell asleep. Fuck that movie." And I'm thinking it's the third of 6. Like, how was it like so epic? And they're like, "Well, it's kind of how Vader becomes Vader."
It was a 20-minute fight scene for the sake of having a 20-minute fight scene.
You don't have to argue this shit with me. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm just saying that, like, it seemed like they could do no wrong. Now, I do know I'm with everyone else. Part 1 fucking sucked. That kid from Jingle All the Way, it wasn't entertaining to me. It was, I can't believe they went back and went, to Anakin at that age. It was kind of weird, but,
I played the pod racing game for Dreamcast, so I'm a huge fan of everything about that film, right down to the racist Jar Jar Binks character. It's good. It's good to see CGI blackface in movies.
But it seems like Star Wars this, Star Wars that, and it's like if I talk to anyone who liked Star Wars, like I'm sure they would say, "Oh, it's not my favorite." That's what I would hear. I wouldn't normally hear, "Oh, it was bad." It was like, "Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing." And I'm just like, I'll come out of a Marvel movie and tell you how I really feel. They're not all great. They're not all great. There's a lot of them that kind of piss me off in certain, and there's some more than others. And it's like, I will watch Ant-Man again, but it is not going to be because I want to.
Yeah.
And that, and that goes for a lot of other movies, like a lot of the X-Men movies or the Wolverine movies. It's like those, I watched Deadpool multiple times. The movie's fucking awesome, but they could have fucked that movie up, I mean, had they had the wrong people in charge or not had Ryan Reynolds, who was born to play Deadpool.
Yeah, they tried really hard to screw that up, but Ryan Reynolds loved the character too much to let that happen.
They just make these moments and it pulls away from the story, and that might have been why it was 2.5 hours long. But it was just there was like, I don't know, there's this guy, I don't know the hierarchy, but he's like under Kylo Ren, and Kylo's just like, "Yo, fucking to space," and then and the guy comes up behind him and he yells something behind him, and then
Domhnall Gleeson character?
I don't know their names, come on.
Skinny redheaded fellow.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
He's also in an episode of Black Mirror. But go on.
Oh, was he the robot?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Ash.
I love that show. You know who else was in there? That one hot chick from Captain America? One girl from Captain America?
Ailey Atwell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in an episode.
I got something right.
Yeah.
All right. But
like they created that scene just so he just like undermined him, or it was kind of like I don't know, you're in charge and I'm your second in command. You're just like, everybody to the bridge, and I'm just like, everybody to the bridge, and it's like, why? And then he looks at the camera and just do, and it's like, what the fuck? What was that for? What was that? He's trying to go kill Luke. Spoiler alert. What was this for? As far as Luke goes, I feel like he had this scene with Yoda where I feel like kind of took him back and made him, they undermined him as a character now, which this kind of goes along with how I was telling you before. I remember I was listening to some of our past podcasts about how there's a difference when you have the original hero. It's always this great epic story, and as soon as you go with their next generation, it's always this wimpy. I'm his next born. I'm his spawn, and he's in charge of me, and I can never do what I want, and I'll just be a junior forever. It's kind of seemed like what they did to Luke, which was like Yoda showed up and he was bonking him on the head and he was teaching him the same lesson that we all thought he knew at this point as a fucking great Grandmaster Jedi who's decided to do all these things. So, I don't want to spoil too much of the movie, but
it's fine. I know exactly what scene you're talking about, actually.
Well, yeah, okay, so he was, he was trying to destroy, the books. I'm trying to destroy the books because the Jedis and they've, the odds of them becoming a bad guy is too, insane. And he's just like, do you not know anything? And it's like, yeah, Luke, aren't you in charge now, kind of? Shouldn't you be where Yoda was when you met Yoda, is my question. Yes, is the answer. But no, Yoda was the original. And therefore, he will always be like just the elder, and everyone else compared to him will seem like a child. Even though Luke was, how fucking old is Mark Hamill at this point? Like 65? Come on,
old enough. Yeah.
How are you gonna talk down to this guy like that? Like, just it's not like he didn't need to talk down to him. You just could rewrite the story where Luke knows he doesn't need Yoda to come in here and ruin everything for him in episode 13. Come on, man.
Well, the student-teacher dynamic is always going to exist, but I mean...
Okay, but once you see your sensei's sensei, it destroys whatever you want. It breaks the glass, right? It's like, oh, now you know that they were once on your level and they kind of can be. I don't think we need to see that. But I guess if you want to tune down everything and make it seem like everybody's kind of kiddish in the movies, by all means. But they managed to have a scene where...
have always been a thing in the Star Wars franchise. They've always, Obi-Wan Kenobi, he showed up as a Force ghost. In addition to Yoda, too. And Anakin, I believe, at the end of the third one. That's always been a thing that they've done, bringing back ghostly old characters to drop some kind of wisdom on the protagonist.
I think when Anakin did it, there was this weird glitch where it was what's his name? Hayden Christensen? In episode 6, right? You said episode 3?
Yeah. It all gets
It was after Vader died, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not that I understood the scene. I just remember when I saw it, it was a digitally remastered version, and he didn't look like a bald, cancerous white man. He looked like Hayden Christensen, who showed up 30 years in the past to talk to Mark Hamill.
You get to pick the form your astral form comes in, which is nice.
Don't I look good? Yeah. Keira Knightley, yeah.
Sunday best. But you felt like Mark Hamill was undermining his portrayal of Luke? You don't think? Yeah. I mean, I'm really trying to wrap my head around what the 50%, 56% audience score is. Like, what could they have not liked about it? I mean, I understand that the internet gets pissed off if continuity isn't managed to their particular liking. Like, it's something that I experienced early on with the Marvel films. I'm an X-Men fan, and I hated those first rounds of X-Men movies. I was that guy in the theater like, that's not how it happened!
Is that Psylocke? Well, she has purple hair. It must be Psylocke. We're not going to use her this episode.
So I've 100% learned to let that go. Do you think this is because it's a big blockbuster film aimed at an older generation of nerds that really, I guess, just now learned how to use the internet and rate something on Rotten Tomatoes? What is it?
I want to just plead the fifth on this one because there's nowhere for me to stand and take a point of view to see why anything happened, because to me it seems like anyone who watched it as a kid, who now has kids, are like, oh, how awesome, I could take my kids to this, and now they can see, and it's just like this heritage thing. It's just like, well, look, now you get to see all 7 in a row, but I mean, I grew up with this, and yada, yada, you get to bring your kids with it to watch it with you, and then I guess you don't have to go out and see the movie alone, you get to go out with other people, or, it could be like a family event instead of just you going to see. Like, for me, it'd be like, my girl isn't interested in all the Marvel movies I want to see, so sometimes it's either a solo adventure, which I'm fine with, or I bring a friend or something, or she'll go. But with this, it's like, oh, well, this is like
just drag her by the hair.
Well, I don't want to force you to be there, because I've seen her fall asleep in the theater before. It's not...
You're gonna have fun, goddammit!
But it's really hard to take a stance from my point of view because I really don't like any of them. I'm not saying that they're bad stories. They're not compelling at all to me. None of them have ever been. And to me, once I started watching these new ones, I have the same thing to say each and every fucking movie. First of all, how did that... Okay, I know we haven't gotten to Doctor Strange yet in our other podcast, but you know that one guy from Doctor Strange... He was like the main bad guy who wasn't Dormammu. It was the guy who's right underneath him. Mordo,
yeah.
He's actually in Star Wars, the one that came out before this. I don't know if you noticed. I wondered how he did 2 giant movies at the same fucking time. He was the guy who built...
Del Toro's in Star Wars too.
He
He's
is.
Also the collector.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous if they do decide to bridge the 2 worlds together.
Well, but okay, he was literally the main bad guy of Doctor Strange, and in the Star Wars movie, he was the guy who made the Death Star. It's like, goddamn. Like, I mean, I'm not hating on it. I just thought it was kind of funny. But
hey, all you have to do is go across the street in the Disney complex to film your new scenes. They're a mega corporation now.
I can't wait to get Kevin Hart in all these films.
Everything. It's so sad. Are you at all worried about what might happen to Deadpool?
I was, but you warded all those demons off when you said, "Oh, well, it seems like they let Marvel do whatever the fuck they want with Punisher." And I was like, I just watched like another episode, and I was like, yeah, I think he's right.
Oh yeah, it's pretty gnarly, right?
I think I'm not far in it. He's just now teaming up with Micro.
Really?
Yeah. Not that far.
Yeah, you're watching it slow, man. I binged that whole thing. I thought it was great. I mean,
again, my girlfriend won't watch that at the same time as me, so it's like, do we have to watch this? And okay, all right, I'll just watch this when I'm alone watching TV because that happens a lot.
Now, does she just have like a blanket like I don't watch anything superheroes? Because lately I feel that all superhero movies and TV are beginning to expand into different genres where you're not watching a superhero movie. Like Captain America Civil War is a good example. That's just straight up a spy thriller. You know, it just happens to have a dude throwing a shield in it. You know? Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy is a
she
space
likes Guardians,
comedy.
yeah. Yeah. Well, how do you not like that? Whoa, your camera's shaking, homeboy.
I'm sorry, I'm rocking back on the chair like a child.
I feel like it took a while. She did not want to watch Doctor Strange, but once I just kept forcing. I fucking love that movie. Wolverine, I like that movie, or Logan, I liked it more, I would say, because I'm more into graphic shit, but god damn it, Doctor Strange was amazing, and I brought her into that, and she finally saw it. She's like, all right, okay, pretty damn good, and she liked seeing, him do that part in, was it Thor? Yeah, where he did that scene with Loki.
Right.
That was all cool, but yeah, I say I know for sure she no cap. I don't think she's a Spider-Man fan. Definitely, she does not like Robert Downey Jr., so she doesn't want to watch Iron Man.
Dude, make her watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Literally the greatest movie of all time and the best performance by Robert Downey Jr. of all time.
That'll work. I've heard about that movie before. Not much though, but with the whole
incredible.
The Star Wars thing. Honestly, I know I saw it and I was there, and the only story I have to tell was I waited in a longer line to get my popcorn than to actually get in the movie theater.
Yeah, you saw it close to opening night?
No, it was opening night. It was last week.
How was the
Thursday.
theater? Was it packed?
I mean, it was, but it wasn't like. It's a better time to do this shit now, man. When Spider-Man 1 came out in 2000, do you remember the Tobey Maguire? I was wrapped around the corner. Movie theater. Yeah, and even the Amazing Spider-Man, when they came out with the midnight release, like I was sitting playing, I don't know, Go Fish or whatever with some person at the mall with me. I think it was a friend. Anyways, I was literally waiting that long, and we waited a little while, but I don't think we had to. We got there an hour and a half before the one that wasn't sold out was letting in. And not letting in, but it had tickets available, and we were like fourth in line.
Okay.
So we got whatever seat we wanted to, but there was that didn't stop the people from just jamming the concession stand. But yeah, that part worked well, and I think it has something to do with how we're getting better as a world and as a country, Trey. You
What do you
notice,
mean?
I know how, okay, I'm going to tie these two things together. We have Black Friday shopping where people, I don't know if they die, but people get injured and there's a lot of...
No, they die. I've been keeping statistics since like 2010. I love when people die
I'm
on
sure
Black
some
Friday.
people have died.
It's
I've
one of my
never
favorites.
heard of it. Did anyone die this
Nobody
year?
died the year before last. I didn't check this year's statistics, but the year before that, like 4 to 7 people died. Some of them were, critical condition in the hospital. I didn't check on them. Screw them.
Yeah.
If you don't get trampled in that first go around, I don't really care about you.
Right.
But yeah, like we make a tradition to at least murder 3 or 4 people every Black Friday.
Well, it's getting better as time goes by, and what they're doing is instead of just it being a Friday only kind of thing, they decided to incorporate, hey, well, I know Thursday's Thanksgiving, but Thursday, we're opening Thursday, and that's going to let more. I don't know that it benefits the stores more, that they can sell more at the time. It makes sense because your store is going to be flooded if you got great deals and there's a high population. But if you increase the amount of time the sale exists, there's not so many people trying to kill each other, right?
Yeah, but that's half the fun. I mean, that's all.
I thought
all
you
the
just
news
give up
cycles
a night
want.
in front of a fire and some warm pie in your stomach, and you just go, okay, I'm going to save $50 on this console.
I mean, you're not going to catch me out on a Black Friday doing any kind of shopping, which is kind of ironic because I went at 3 p.m. after everything. It was less crazy to pick up some socks and underwear,
Yeah.
but it wasn't discounted. So,
Oh, okay. Well, for the past couple of years that I've been going with my girlfriend, it's been like chill Black Friday shopping just at the right time. I think one night we went, it was maybe not long after midnight, and some stores were flooded, but I think I walked into some place looking for a wallet, and there was 30 people ahead of me in the line, and I was like, no, this. But I go out with her because otherwise it's just this chick walking around trying to do Black Friday shopping all on her own, and she's not very threatening. So I'm just like, all right, I go with her just to, otherwise I don't want to go. I'm not trying to go on
you need
Black
muscle.
Friday. Yeah,
do you really
understand?
need
I'm
muscle
like
for Black Friday?
You just said people die.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you really got to be in a jingle all the way situation where you're all running towards the HD TV at the same time.
But
who's really getting clotheslined for a blouse?
All right, I think you're okay. You wouldn't work well with my girl then because it she would give you all kinds of shit for not going with her. Not that she does me. It's just I know to do that because I've been in Black Friday shopping before with my brothers who are just other men and no women to support around us. And I've heard some dude talk about pulling a knife out on someone else just for standing too close to him. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'm ready for this shit. We're going to fuck this dude up if it happens to us. So I give her that little bulletproof shield. Hey, Gabby. Of, if some shit goes down, I'll turn around all 6-something foot of me and be like, what? Talking about girl, dog. And that's a little bit of help. It's the equivalent of her walking or working out alone at midnight outside or me being right next to her. It's helpful. But, okay, so also what I'm saying is the movies. So, Star Wars, for example, at the movie theater I went to, they had a 6, a 6:30, a 7, a 7:30, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Oh, yeah, they were ready.
And this was so we're not... so they can either make more money or they're thinning out the herd of the midnight crowd. Because it wasn't that crazy when we went there. There was just people there. And, it was different. Normally they don't check your bags, but they said, oh, if you have a backpack, we're going to check it on your way in. Something about Batman.
Really?
Probably Batman.
Well, and Trainwreck, which is what got me away from seeing movies anywhere around opening night. When they shot up Trainwreck, I'm like, ooh, it's not safe for anybody. Nobody cared about that movie. Exactly. That movie with LeBron James and Gabby, what's her name? Amy Schumer.
Wow. LeBron James is an actor now?
Yeah. No, he's not. It was a cameo appearance in a crappy comedy that came out in the summer that nobody cared about, but that theater got shot up.
Yeah, that's fucked
for
up.
no reason. So yeah, I'm like, ugh, I'll just wait. I'll just wait.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too much. I mean, I don't know. It was right place at right time, and I mean, it's a lot easier to say you'll wait if it's like, oh, well, I can't stay up till midnight. It's like now there's a 6 p.m., a 6:30, a 7. Like they're not gonna run out, dude. Like I mean, if they do, it'll be because you got there, and I don't know. I Can we pull up a side segment here? I have this question. You brought up LeBron James. What do you think in a fight to the death? LeBron James versus The Rock.
The Rock is only like 6'4". I'm gonna go with LeBron on this one.
Have you seen
black.
Hercules?
Black people win everything. And B, LeBron's like 6'8", superhuman athlete. I'm looking up like stats on Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Look at The Rock and tell me The Rock wasn't a professional wrestler before he was an actor, right? Just take it easy for a second there. He's a genetic freak too. He's just not as tall and he's not playing basketball. But that's why I think this is so even. Because LeBron is not a bodybuilder like The Rock, but he is bigger.
By like 3 inches, man. That's height and reach. And I hate to break it to you, but wrestling isn't real. I know it hurts.
Aww.
I know it hurts.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't give a fuck. That has nothing to do with it. But that tells me that he's you still get beat up in wrestling a little bit. You still get damaged and whatnot.
I mean, I guess The Rock on like he has a crazy workout routine, but so does I don't know, man.
See?
This might be closer than I think.
Right?
But no, I'm gonna give it to LeBron based on like he can jump over The Rock and like step on his head like Mario, just like bash him into the ground.
If you want to be that serious about it, the LeBron versus Brock Lesnar.
Oh well, then you give it to Brock. Brock's an actual UFC fighter. No, they'll just ground and pound him. It's awful.
I don't know. I assume that if LeBron James was in a fight, he would just turn it into a basketball game. He would just be like, all right, well, I'm clearly not winning this fisticuffs, so I'll just jump over you, hurdle. He's under your legs. He stands up. Next thing you know, you're on his shoulders. He just pushes you back. Maybe you crack your head. Hey, well, LeBron James for the win.
Not since Shaq Fu has basketball a legit form of martial arts, you know? It's a good a spot as any to wrap up this podcast. I think this is your longest one yet, man. God damn it.
1 hour, and I'm not going to say the overall because it's 50. No, wait. It's got to be more than 50. I'm looking at an hour 18 on my screen, but I might have to edit some and then maybe put some in. I also, I don't know. Yeah, that was a good spot because I guess all I have left to talk about was I did my Christmas shopping on Amazon.
This is actually kind of fun. I'll have more to complain about next time, but let's probably do another one of these, yeah?
Sure, yeah. Told you, man. I've been trying to get you to get some information together, but it seems like at the beginning of this podcast, you were totally playing devil's advocate. I mean, you're on my side. I don't know why you didn't.
No, yeah, you're right. I am, but it's one of those things where you sound like a real conspiracy theorist if you're going to go down the pessimistic road of what all these hostile corporate takeovers could mean in the future, you know? Because like Disney's not evil yet, but they could be. Very easily.
Define evil. Like, I mean, there's a lot that they produce to not say there's not a little bit of evil in the company. Perfect example. If I went to your theme park, Trey, and you had 20% of it closed down. Now, when you go to a theme park, normally you're there for that day. That's the ticket. It's good for that day. So you paid for that day. So you planned your vacation to go to Disneyland on this day. And when they tell you 20%,
a lot like it's happened to you,
20% of the park is closed, would you not expect a discount?
I mean, a normal person would, but I also expect them to send Donald Duck out there to beat your ass and kick you out of the park.
That's
because they're Disney and they can afford to do that.
That's not the only form of evil. Like, part of evil is charging full price when you get 80% of the product. Because here's what happens when 80% of the product is all that's available. That means... So they probably let in the same number of people. I'm going to go with they didn't go, oh, well, we can only let in 80% of the people we normally could. The same amount of people got in there. The lines got longer. The park got more crowded. And for
Take it up with the mouse.
And for what? So you could charge full price so you can help them build. And this happened for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. They just closed all that shit down. We couldn't go on it. And I was like, great, where's my discount? Because I want to go on that ride. And on any normal day before this day, it would have been there for the same fucking price.
You're such an ugly American, Jabril.
No,
don't ever complain about anything.
The day that money doesn't go as far as I think, or the day that I make more money and it's not so worried about it, is the day that I stop this complaint. But I had the same complaint at I was at a trampoline park once, and it was the same shit. They had some part of it just closed down to the public because of repairs or someone got injured. And I was like, all right, well, you going to throw me a discount? Because
I can just see you yelling at some 21-year-old customer service lady like, hey, none of this is my fault. I just want to smoke weed on my break, collect a check, and this big Pakistani guy's yelling at me for no reason.
If you don't fight, motherfucker, it's going to be you who gets fucked over by the insurance company. And they're going to charge you 100% of everything when you're going to say, look, man, this isn't completely my fault. They're just going to go, oh, no, you signed a contract, because it's you versus the man. And that's why that's why this podcast exists, is for people like me to go, look, no one's listening to me either. And I have legitimate complaints, and you should not be allowed to charge full price for a discount. It's like, if I tested my internet right now and I got 60% of what I paid for, I would call them right now and go, you either increase it or you decrease my price. Right? Because you sold me this price at that price point. Or this speed. Come on.
You're making valid points, but
everything is whittled down to you as an individual, but as soon as you try to as soon as you try to come back at a corporation as an individual, there's a problem? That doesn't make any sense. It's like, I picked up this philosophy, and what I want to start saying when people say this shit to me, it's like, oh, well, it's policy, sir. It's policy. It's policy. We can't do this because this is our policy. Well, I have a policy too, and it's not to let you just fucking roll over me just because you have more money than me. I have a policy that you do what makes sense, otherwise we're going to cancel our business. But you're not just going to roll over on me. If you want to do this shit, we can take this to another level. I'm not going to do any property damage, but I mean,
you're the reason why net neutrality laws are coming off the book. Specifically this podcast right here. We gotta get this dude. He can't just talk to everybody. What if people start to like him? This goddamn anarchy.
Who knows? Maybe I have a voice, and maybe some of these thoughts are half thought out, half planned out, and maybe some people want to hear them. I don't know.
No, I assure you they're not. And you're just yelling into the abyss.
Well, don't act like I'm not at least half as I'm not in the median as far as the USA population, as far as intelligence goes.
I'm sure millions of Americans share your concern. The little guys, as there were. And this is something we will have to touch on. On the next Is It Just Me podcast, do you have a sign-off for this? Are there things you like to say at the end of this?
I normally just shout out all my information, which this is the Is It Just Me podcast. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We got we're also out on iTunes. Now, when you search in on iTunes, it'll be under Is It Just Me, but when you search for me on Facebook, it'll be just Jabril Parimal. Same thing on Twitter. If you find it on Facebook, which you will, it should be easy. There's only one person with my name, which is why I really shouldn't be giving it to anybody. But you find that information, you'll have all the about me. I think I'm even on SoundCloud, but I feel like they charge. So I have 2 podcasts.
So maybe you didn't pay for it?
The last time I looked, it was 2 podcasts on there, and it was you ran out of space. And I was like, well, fuck this. I'm not using this, whatever it's called. I can't think. This channel of networking, whatever. But yeah, so Twitter, YouTube, it'll be on YouTube, but it says Infinity Warmup up here. I'm not going to release this video. But we will, as long as we get this shit to work for the next podcast, for the Infinity Warmups that we're going to be doing pretty soon here for the Avengers, we will have the video up, and hopefully it looks really awesome.
Oh, good Christ. Man, you're going to make me consider shaving.